Welcome to the House Arrest Show, hosted by Grammy-nominated and 6-time Dove Award-winning artist and actor T-Bone. Today's guest is NBA analyst and founder of the King Movement, Chris Broussard. We also have the House Arrest Mix by DJ P-Dog in the Mix.
You're tuned into House Arrest with T-Bone.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your man, DJ P-Dog in the Mix, once again right here on the House Arrest Show. Today's guest, we got my man Chris Broussard in the building. He's a big fan of T-Bone, so we're going to throw y'all back with some throwback T-Bone out the gate right here on the pre-show. Let's go.
Not good enough is the thought that's dwelling in my mind. I thought that I could see, but I was really spiritually blind. Going to church on Sunday, then Monday, smoking on a spliff and still be thinking I could uplift the name of Christ with my hands raised up in the air. Living a double life and swearing the Lord was in one accord with all the things that I chose to do. But serving two, God told me be like being the blood and you be smoking blue. You say it ain't true, homie, don't take it from me. Read it yourself, Matthew chapter 7, 21 through 23. It happened to me, a pastor's kid, never did a bit. Thinking I could live a lukewarm life and carry a knife in my left hand and in my right carry a Bible. Shout revival, then shake it twice for my survival. But little did I know that it would all come to an end. Walking home from school on a Friday with an unsafe friend. I see my dad's car wrecked down the street.
Real MC.
So I ran to see if he was alive,
T-Bone,
but no one
what's
was
up?
inside. I couldn't believe my eyes, what was going on. So I ran to the house to see if I could get the info from my mom. The door was wide open, so I ran frantically down the hall, shouting and screaming, but no one seemed to hear my call. Was I dreaming, or could it really be? The rapture happened and the Lord took everyone except for me. I dropped on my knees and prayed, but couldn't feel his spirit the way I could before when he was knocking at my heart's door. So here I am alone in a world that's straight up dark. And if I wanna buy some clothes to eat, they say that I gotta take the mark. Now it's my choice, taking a starve, I quickly take my pick. I choose to rob and steal, cause I'll never take the 666. I jump in a stolen car, get on the freeway heading east, cause they'll cut off my head if I don't take the mark of the beat.
I used to date a girl named World.
Let's go.
She was real glamorous, arrayed in diamonds and pearls.
We got my man Chris Broussard coming up.
She was established, and with a universal status, she kept me living lavish. She knew about my sinful habits. She used to feed them. She offered me the fruits of lust. I used to eat them. She took my freedom.
The ambassador on deck.
And when I mentioned God, she said,
chill, you don't need him.
I second guessed this, but then she pulled out those dresses. Tight fitting ones made by Mercedes and Lexus. Her neck exploded with the fragrance of passion, the aroma of fame, fortune and fashion. Snatching my heart, she romanced me, my plans be love her for life, make her my wife. I can't see breaking up like I can't see me in the S-curl. This is dedicated to my ex-girl. I used to date a girl named World. Sis was real glamorous, arrayed in diamonds and pearls. But now I got a new best friend. Cause the world will leave you dry and watch you die in the end. I used to date a girl named World. Sis was real glamorous, arrayed in diamonds and pearls. But now I got a new best friend. Cause the world will leave you dry and watch you die in the end.
Let me explain my story, the pain and the glory, the trees and the forest.
Giving y'all some throwback hip-hop.
The ice and the rollies, the nights I was lonely, the price wasn't
Some real MCs. Let's go.
The I was chasing, fiends I was lacing, the beams I was blazing.
My man Shabbat.
Dreams I was wasting, lies to the family, the flights to Miami. The guys couldn't stand me, it certainly would land me 6 feet deeper. The snub in my sneaker, the thug that'll reach her. It's bugged without teacher. The life I was leading, the nights I was leaving. The pipe full of trees made life seem even. The drinks I was drinking, breath that was thinking. My health on the brinks where my wealth started sinking. Faith in the street life, waits on the street lights. To wait till the wait's right to sleep when it's daylight. Yo, people will always disappoint you, Paul. So I leave 'em and get that good anoint from God.
Welcome to the House Arrest Show, ladies and gentlemen. We got my man Chris Broussard. Just a few minutes away to give y'all some of that throwback Christian hip hop.
My trust doesn't reach that far, cause I can't change the way things are.
He's the ultimate transcendent, highly recommended. Came to put an end to Satan's dominion. So when I'm spitting, I leave a principally inscription. Jesus Christ is still living, he's still living. He's the ultimate transcendent, highly recommended. Came to put an end to Satan's dominion. So when I'm spitting, I leave a principally inscription. Jesus Christ still living, he's still living. I blast off from the ghetto to
My man R.
suburbs to preach
Swift.
the word that rips through your skin like rug burns. I rap Christ the ultimate, the authentic, who died on the cross, not for some but all sinning. I recommend you all listen. I'm on a long mission to make sure Jesus doesn't get the false mention from cats who preach Christ with wrong intentions. So I just fall in position and put it into all tension, like loss prevention, to continue to do one thing until I stop living. But beseech my brethren about the none other than Jesus, who saved me from hell through the blood covenant, who covers me in the midst of the storms like armed brothers. It switched my attitude from good to God fella, a God of no favorites, so he's out for all. The chose the hangover minus the alcohol, a God of more influence, the riots and wars. So just the thought of his name deserves the highest applause. Oh, fire for God, who took the cross so we can all live. The final
We going back, y'all ready?
The ultimate.
Cross movement.
With serious controversy. Same signature.
My man Tonic.
May the Lord have mercy.
Let's go.
This thing is
Fatal.
Long before the cradle. While prenatal sin seeped in through your navel. None escape the curse, cause none escape the verse. Cheese, please, put away the purse. This a thief coming to pull off a heist. Appraise your life and smash up your ice. How bad can it get? You gon' throw a fit when all your bling bling turns to pss, pss. All your shine will be snuffed. All your pedal turn rust. What will you do when life's a must? Is what you screaming, but your meaning is leaning, cause that would make it exist is no different than a demon. Though we too were condemned, each man now has the choice to choose Christ and rap with more than your voice. Cause just what is it that you really telling me when you say you love God
But live the life of BLZ.
Even demons tried to say, son of God,
What up?
Jesus would turn ice grill and say,
Shut up.
How you gonna try and praise the Most High when you know your native tongue is a lie? So if you see life through the eye of a note, a picture what Christ condemns in the culture. Peep the clear picture, it's some muddy mixture. How's the South they gon' play 76er? We need elixir. When the trickster seems royal, y'all, McDonald's don't serve plain broil. So if you're truly lost, but
now you're found,
if you truly lift it up, then
hold it down.
You try to show them
Ladies and
they from
gentlemen,
life, they like, what?
we're just
You
a
try
few
to
moments
tell them
away
life
from my
from
man
life, they
Chris
like, what?
Broussard.
You say, yo,
Right here on the House
they
Arrest
like,
Show.
what? That's why
We got to hold it down.
You tell them righteousness is tight, they like
what?
You tell them walk in the light, they like what? Praise God when you get your mic, they like what? That's why we got
Let's go, let's go. Hold it down, hold it down. Come on, we got to hold it down. Hold it down.
When everybody screaming Jesus,
Hold it down.
even if they ain't believers,
Hold it down.
Come on,
We got to hold it down. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your man DJ P Dog in the mix. Listen, come back for the after party because I got something real special for you guys. I got a brand new record from my man Nate, the 116 Beat Breaker. Got something exclusive for you guys happening at the after party. You don't want to miss it. Once again, my name is DJ P Dog in the mix. T-Bone. We got Chris Broussard on the building right now, man. House Arrest Show. T-Bone, host of the show. What's up, my brother? What's up?
What's good with it, my man? As always, everyone, welcome to the House Arrest Show. Big round of applause for my man, DJ P Dog. We want to let you guys know that he is, as always, will be available for the House Arrest after party right after the show. You can log on to his Instagram at DJ P Dog. That's DJPDOGG. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the House Arrest Show. I am your host, T-Bone. Today we have an amazing, amazing show. We have my man Chris Broussard on. And, man, I'm super excited about this one, y'all. This is going to be amazing. But I do want to let you guys know, as always, that today's show is brought to you in part by Colomare Homes and Coldwell Banker. If you're in the Bay Area or anywhere else, they can help you nationwide with their network of realtors. You guys can reach them at www.colomarehomes.com. That's COLOMER homes.com. Or you can log on to Instagram and Facebook and follow them on Colomare Homes. Again, that's COLOMER homes.com and COLOMER homes. We want to give a shout out to everybody listening via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, Google Play, Instagram, Facebook, all the other things. But, man, I do want to let you guys know that we are 100% listener supported. If you guys want to find out how you can donate and be a part of what we're doing by helping spread the gospel through the stories we're telling, you guys can send us an email at info@thehousearrestshow.com. That's info@thehousearrestshow.com. Or you can DM us on any of our platforms at House Arrest Show. We want to give a shout out to all the people listening through all over the United States, India, Germany, Ireland, Africa, Latino America, of course, Europe, and even places like Russia, man. But I want to tell you what, man, I'm excited. Today is an amazing day. I want to jump right into this thing. So we're going to log on. We got my man Chris Broussard in the building. And, man, this is exciting. This is a big honor for me. Please put your hands together and give a huge round of applause for NBA sports analysis, my man Chris Broussard.
What's up, brother? How are you, man?
Man, I'm like a Mexican at the border just trying to get by, baby. You know what I'm saying? How you doing, bro?
I'm great, man. It's great to be on your show, man. I'm excited, and I can't wait, man. I'm hyped about this.
Oh man, I'm excited. My palms are sweaty right now, bro. I was on the show today, and the crazy thing is, a lot of people may not know, but we actually connected via this show. The very first show that I ever did with my man Soup the Chemist. What up to Soup? You know, this is back in the day before we had cool intros. I didn't have a microphone. I wasn't at your level. I was trying to get there, but you know, I seen on the comments, I was like, man, Chris Broussard, and I seen the little check mark. I was like, is that the Chris Broussard I watch all the time on TV? And you DM me, and man, God is good, brother. How you doing, bro? Tell me how everything's going.
Man, everything is great. You know, for me, it's great to have sports back. The NBA is back. Baseball is back. And, you know, look, I'm able to do everything I normally do. I live in New Jersey, but a lot of our Fox shows are in LA. So I have to be back and forth during the season. But now I'm doing everything from home in Jersey, TV and radio. And I'm loving it, man. It's obviously a tragic time. A lot of deaths. My father-in-law died from COVID, but I'm also just taking this time to reflect and spend more time with the Lord, spend more time with my family. So, and you know, it's not the rat race that we're all in normally, and so I'm trying to make the most out of it.
Well, man, first of all, we want to say condolences, man. You know, your father-in-law. It's a lot of people, man. It's been really, really tough. And I know, like you're saying, you're actually on house arrest right now, too. You're out there doing all your shows from home. How has it been for you, you know, going through all this, seeing the death of someone in your family and you being taken away, you know, what you do, which is sports for so long, just that being absent? What has that been like for you?
Well, obviously, from a family perspective, you know, it was tough. Now, my father-in-law was 86, and he had some health issues. So, you know, we knew if he got it, he was very vulnerable. So you kind of knew he was probably going to pass soon anyway. But, you know, we dealt with that. And then honestly, from a work standpoint, man, I've still been grinding the whole time because we had to talk about something. Like I do a daily radio show, The Odd Couple with Rob Parker. That's on every night, Monday through Friday, 7 to 10 Eastern. I listen. Yeah, you got to call in, man, and you know, say something. But
sure.
So we were talking about, we were finding stuff to talk about. You know, whether it was The Last Dance with Michael Jordan,
right,
or just players making comments or prepping for the season. So it's still been a lot of work.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing even more television because, you know, sports is back. But overall, man, I'm blessed. You know, obviously there's a lot of people out of work. And so I'm blessed. My daughters graduated from college this summer, and they both have jobs. So, you know, my wife is still working. So, you know, all in all, man, we just praising the Lord for watching over us.
Yes, sir. God is good. So you're not in the bubble. I thought you were going to be in the bubble over in Orlando. You got to stay home. Was that an option for you to go there and be a part of all that?
No, I'm glad I'm not in the bubble. If I had pushed it, I probably could have gone. But to be honest, that's really not my job anymore. When I was at ESPN, I was reporting on, you know, trying to break news, reporting on what's going on. Now with Fox, whether it's television or radio, I'm more of an analyst and a commentator. So I don't have to try to break news or report the news. I just give my reaction and my analysis of it, which is much better. So I don't need to go into the bubble. I don't go to as many games as I used to, even during the normal time. So I'm always in the studio now, whether it's TV or radio, just talking about the sports.
That's dope, bro. I feel like I'm on Fox right now, man, just watching for so long. Now, as you know, the House Arrest Show, man, what we like to do is we like to tell people's story. And something that's interesting about you, before you had hit us up on House Arrest, and I didn't really, I knew you as a sports analyst. I didn't know that you were a man of God, that you know, you was a born-again Christian, all this stuff. And I started finding this out shortly after, obviously, you DM me and we started talking and I started researching. Take me, I want for the people that don't know much about you, I've done a little bit of research. Tell me how you got into sports. We can get into how you got into the commentating later, but I want to know just how you got into sports. You were a basketball player, I believe, and what your childhood was like, because I read that you were almost like a military kid. You were going from city to city at a young age. What was that like, and what was it like in your household?
Yeah, I did move around a lot. My father wasn't in the military, but he just got transferred on the job that he had. And so I was born in Louisiana. As a baby, moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, then Indianapolis, Indiana, then Syracuse, New York, then Des Moines, Iowa, and then Cleveland, Ohio, where I finished high school. And, look, it taught me moving around. It did a few things. One, it made your family closer because when you first move, that's all you have is each other. And I have a younger brother, a year younger than me. And so you get closer as a family. It also told me I could be genuinely happy wherever I was at. I like some places better than others, but everywhere I went, I made friends and I was genuinely, happy for the most part and had good times, good memories. And then the third thing is it taught me how to relate to different types of people, different races, different, some in the Midwest, some in the Northeast, things like that. So there were some positives. But, you also you kept being uprooted. And that first day of school, man, is always a trip, when you don't know anybody and you're the new kid. But sports helped me. There's no doubt that being an athlete, and I was a pretty good athlete, that made it easier, for a boy to go there and you play well, you're pretty good in sports, and automatically you make friends. So I ended up I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school. Okay. And then in college, I played basketball. And the way I got into sports journalism was my sophomore year. I'm playing on the basketball team. It's just Division III, small school, Oberlin College. And I look around, and just about all my friends knew what they wanted to do after graduation. Some were going. The girl I ended up marrying, she knew she was going to go be a doctor, go to medical school. I had teammates who were going to law school, teammates who wanted to be engineers or go to public policy graduate school. They all seemed to know, and I had no clue. So I came up with a formula. I got scared. I was like, man, I got like 2.5 years to figure out what I want to do with my life before I have to be a responsible adult. Yeah. And I got scared, and I came up with a formula. I said, let me take something that I enjoy plus something I'm gifted at and try to make a career out of that. And something I enjoyed was sports. Something I was gifted at. I always was a good writer. And was able to write really well. It was a gift. Yeah. And so I said, let me try to be a sports writer. And because I was a good student, I'd always gotten good grades. That opened the door for me. Even though I didn't have a lot of experience, people could look at my record and say, he's a good student, he was smart. And so that opened the doors. And that's kind of how I began and got into it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because one of the things on this show that we try to do is inspire people to dream, man. We let them know that people like you're just like everybody else. It just takes hard work and dedication because I know for you to make it to the level that you've made it, being on ESPN, Fox Sports, all that stuff, it's almost like making it to the NBA. There's a million writers that are trying to get to that level. What did it take for you to get there, and how hard was that journey? I'm sure it wasn't easy. I'm sure you went through some hard times, but what did it take for you to get there for people that are watching saying, man, I want to aspire to do something great. Maybe they want to be a writer. What did it take for you to be able to get to that level?
Yeah, well, one, you have to be humble and hardworking. Yeah. Humble and hardworking, and at the same time confident, because you're going to have naysayers. You know this through hip hop. You always gonna have some people that aren't feeling you, and you can't let that crush you. You can't let every obstacle that's put in your way, every naysayer that says you can't do it, every failure or setback, you can't let that crush you. And you have to have the fortitude to fight through it and the confidence to believe that you can do it. But at the same time, don't be too arrogant where you're not taking constructive criticism. You know, where you think, oh, man, he don't know what he's an editor. He's a sports editor at this big newspaper, but he don't know what he's talking about. I'm the man. No, he does know what he's talking about. So take his advice, learn from it, but believe that you can do it if you work hard at it. And also you just, look, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that may want to work in sports broadcasting or journalism that watch Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless or whoever and say, I should be up there with them. I know sports. Yeah. And they aren't willing to start at the lower level. When I first started, I was working part-time in Cleveland, Ohio, answering telephones in the newsroom. And then I got promoted. I still really wasn't a promotion money-wise or position-wise, but they let me start covering high school sports. And I covered high school sports for like 4 years. And then from there, I was able to move on to the pros, to the NBA. And the way to get to the highest level is to excel where you're at. Okay? Let me put it like as an MC. You might be an MC rapping in underground clubs and thinking you should be on wax, thinking you should be on the radio just like, the top rappers of the day. The best way for you to get there, though, is to dominate in the clubs, to dominate the battle rappers and the cipher that you in the neighborhoods, right? That's the best way to get to where you want to go. So you want to have goals and ambitions, of course, but
right.
You can't be so obsessed with getting to that next level that you don't focus on where you're at and be the best you can be where you're at. So I did a great job. I put my all into covering high school sports. And then that got me to the pros. And I did my all in covering the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then that got me to covering the New York Knicks and the entire NBA. And then that got me to moving on from the New York Times to ESPN and being on television and so on and so forth. So that's a little bit of the advice that I would give people watching.
Yeah, wow, man. The resume is insane, bro. And I got so many things I want to ask you about. One of the things I do want to say, though, you also got to be kind of a level-headed guy in your industry because it's arguments all the time. It's his word against your word. You're trying to prove your point. What is that like when it gets heated, especially with like a Stephen A. Smith? That's like, yo, man, I told you. They level-headed. And I'm sure there's a lot what people don't see. They see the glam, they see you on TV spitting the facts, but they don't see the hours of studying that you have to do to obtain all this knowledge on this. What is that like, and how do you stay level-headed?
Yeah, well, as far as preparation, when you get into debates, you have to be confident, obviously, and confidence comes from being prepared. So it's like anybody's job. You do it so much that the material, but that you still have to put in the research. So I still talk, even though I'm not a reporter anymore, I still talk to people around the NBA about different, things going on in the league to get, have educated opinions. You have to do a lot of reading. Obviously, we watch a lot of sports,
right.
But you do a lot of reading and you prepare, like in the opinion business, which is what I'm in now, there's really no right or wrong. Right. It's like if you want to argue who's the top 5 MCs of all time, there's really no right or wrong. You just have to be able to back up your argument. You want to argue Biggie or Tupac or T-Bone or Soup the Chemist. You just need to be able to argue it with some passion and charisma and then have points that you want to make to back it up. If you do that, it's good TV and it's good radio. Like if I want, I could go on TV and try to argue that Scottie Pippen was better than Michael Jordan. Now that's ridiculous. I wouldn't do it. But if I did do it, as long as I've got passion, conviction, and I got some points, Mike never won it without Scottie. Scottie almost led him to the finals when Mike retired. Like whatever it is,
right?
You that's good television. And that's really the key to it. But I tell you what, and this is a little bit of a misunderstanding out there. A lot of people think that we just manufacture disagreements for TV. They think it's like, oh, Skip, you take this side, Shannon Sharp, you take this side, Chris, you take that side, whatever. No, of all the years I've been doing it, and I used to do First Take with Skip Bayless back at ESPN.
Yeah.
Never once have I been told, hey, why don't you take this side just so we can, you can disagree with me. It's real.
It's real.
Like, it's whatever your true feeling is, that's what it is. Now, it's better when there's a disagreement because then you get more intensity.
Right.
But sometimes you just agree on it and you just discuss the topic more so than argue or debate about it.
Man, one of the things that I wondered about, because, man, when you're talking about a sports analyst, I mean, I watch a lot of sports, but the thing is you have to really know your craft. And with so many games going on in a regular season, you said you do a lot of reading. How do you keep up? I mean, because do you literally watch every game? Like, how do you keep up, or do you watch the highlights? How do you keep up with all that?
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, you can't watch every game, but
Right.
you watch what you can, and then, like I said, you do a lot of reading and you do watch highlights.
Right.
And that's the preparation. And again, I'm talking to people. I'm talking to scouts, the general managers, sometimes the players around the league, and getting their views. Doesn't mean I'm gonna take their view,
Right.
but it can inform what I decide my opinion is. And so that's really how you do it. Because like you said, you can't watch every game, but you do need to stay on top of all the sports. You need to stay on, top of the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker, and even though they're not really in the championship hunt, or stay on top of the Brooklyn Nets and what's going on with them, so that you can speak intelligently about the different topics.
Real talk, man. Now, I want you to take your time through this next part, because I want you to walk us through your whole conversion, how you came to know Christ. Were you actually, and then I want to get into the, you being a gospel hip hop head as well. But, how did that happen? Were you raised in church? What events took place? How did that experience come to pass? I'm sure there's a lot of people wondering.
Yeah, and I'll give you the short version, because I do whole sermons on my conversion.
Wow.
You know what I mean? My testimony. But I was raised Catholic, from Louisiana, so a lot of Catholics down there.
Yep.
And grew up going to Catholic schools, going to church every Sunday. But I never knew one thing about Catholicism. You are taught a lot of good Bible stories.
Right.
Like, I got to admit, taking religion courses every year in school, I knew a lot about Jesus as far as his stories. I knew more about the apostles and the Beatitudes than probably the average Protestant growing up, But what I didn't know was anything about having a personal relationship with Christ. I didn't know anything about reading the Bible itself. We just had religious books and things like that, but I didn't know any of that. So consequently, I grew up, just doing what I wanted to do, getting drunk in high school a lot, getting involved in sexual immorality, things like that. I wasn't a terrible kid. I wasn't a drug dealer, gangbanger, nothing like that. But I was just, doing stuff that was sin, And so in college, I started dating my sophomore year a girl who was a born-again Christian. And she was the first person that I was really close with who introduced me to biblical Christianity. Like, she would want to pray. And, I was open to praying, and I would pray with her. And then I would notice, though, the difference. When she prayed, it felt like she seemed like she really knew who she was praying to.
Right.
Like she was praying to a father or a brother or a friend, like somebody she had a relationship with. And my prayers, I only knew memorized prayers. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, blessed. That's all. That's how I prayed. I never, before I got saved, really just prayed like, God, I want to pray for my daughters and my parents that going through. I didn't pray like that. Now, obviously, there were times I was in distress or challenged, and I would be like, God, help me. Like, help me get through this. But I never really knew how to pray other than memorize prayer. So I noticed that she wanted to go to Bible study. I go to Bible study. So she exposed me to biblical Christianity. But it was a tug of war. For about a year and a half, we dated. She's trying to live for the Lord. I'm not, I'm out here doing my thing, hanging with my boys, my frat brothers, things like that. And so there was this constant tension between us. Even, we were in love, things went well, but it was a tension because, I wasn't trying to live for the Lord, and she was.
Well,
and I'm dragging her down and all that. Yeah. And so one time we went to church, a charismatic church, which I had never seen anything like that, So we go and people, first of all, everybody was like excited to be in church, which I had never seen as a Catholic. No disrespect, no shade, but I was used to going to church being bored to death for 45 minutes, counting the moments till it ended. And so we go in there, everybody's excited. The lyrics on the wall, and everybody's standing and singing and praising God. And, that was a trip, people hugging you and all that. And then the message, they had a guest speaker. And I don't even want to give the name because I'm not sure. But as I look back, I didn't know him at the time, but I think it's a guy that's a fairly famous, theologian and speaker now, does a great ministry. I don't want to give his name because I don't know for sure, but his testimony and his look matches up to what I remember. But anyway, this guy had been on drugs as a teenager, gave his life to Christ, got delivered from the drug use, and, went on to have a very productive, and that was his testimony. And for something about being in that atmosphere and hearing his testimony convicted me. And for the first time in my life, that's when I knew, like, I'm not right with God. Like, I'm God's not pleased with my life. And, as a Catholic, I had gone to confession and confessed my sins, but I wasn't sorry for what I had done. I was just going to go out and try to do it again, after I confessed it. And I do remember momentarily feeling like for those couple days or hours or whatever it was until I started sinning again as a Catholic, I did feel like, man, I'm clean. For these 3 hours, I'm clean, or this week, I'm clean till I go out on the weekend or whatever. But so I was convicted. And as the guy was giving the altar call, I felt like, and I know you know this, I felt like everybody in that church, hundreds of people, was pointing to me like, you need to go down. You ain't right. You need to go down. But I didn't. I didn't want to be saved. I was like, man, I ain't trying to give this up and give that up. And I don't know no brothers that's living for the Lord. You know, ain't none of my teammates, none of my frat brothers. Man, I ain't about to be the only one. So I didn't go down to give my life to Christ, but I was convicted at that point and knew I needed to. And so I ran from God for about 6 or 7 months. And he blessed me. The Bible talks about he lets his rain shine, the rainfall, sunshine on the just and the unjust. And so he blessed me with the summer internship at the Cleveland Plain Dealer newspaper. This was going into my senior year of college.
Wow.
And I did well. And they promised me, they told me, when you graduate, we're going to hire you next year. So you can imagine how great that feels to know going into your senior year of college that you got a job awaiting you when you graduate, and a job that you'll enjoy, a job that's in sports writing, a job that you'll make good money. And so I was on top of the world. And then a few days, maybe a week or so later, I just started feeling like, is this it? Like, this is what life is about?
Yeah.
Like, this, I was raised, T-Bone, to think the American dream was what life was about. Go to school, Chris, get good grades so you can go to a good college. Go to a good college, do well so you can get a good job, so you can live the American dream.
Right.
And so here I was now with the American dream in the palm of my hand. Like, it was within my grasp. I got it. I wasn't rich or nothing, but, things were looking up. My future was bright. I had it.
Right.
And so I began feeling like, man, there's got to be more to life than this. And I start feeling empty and miserable. And really, man, ultimately, I tried to make a deal with God. I said, I was about to go back for my senior year of college, and I'm miserable. And, you can't see it on the outside. I'm looking good. I'm happy. People think everything's good. You're going to have a job and you graduate, all that. But inside, I was empty and miserable.
Yeah.
And I said, God, I know I need to get saved. I know I need to give my life to Christ. I said, let me have my first semester. Let me go up to school, so all my wild oats, do whatever I want to do till January. And then in January, I'm going to give my life to Christ. I'll be 21. I'll be ready to, chill out a little bit, get into the real world. And so I felt like God was like, cool. Now, I know he really wasn't saying that, but in my mind, it was like, God is like, cool. So I go up to school. I'm trying to do my thing and all that. And it's just still, I'm empty and it's not the same. And I'm struggling. And so really, man, God just broke me down to where it was like, you either going to keep running, you're going to keep running from God and be miserable, or you're going to give your life to Christ and get some peace and some joy. And so, believe it or not, man, on my 21st birthday, my girlfriend and I were going out to dinner with my parents. And they had a cake for me. And instead of making a wish over the cake, that's when I repented and gave my life to the Lord, invited Jesus Christ to be my Lord and Savior. And that was when I got saved. So my natural birthday is the same as my spiritual birthday. So,
wow.
And ever since then, man, I've no regrets. You know, you obviously have challenges, you have struggles, you have obstacles, but never for a moment have I regretted it at all.
Man, that's a powerful story. And it's like you're saying, man, there's a lot of people that one thing I experienced, to me, some of the easiest people, and I want to talk about this too, because I want to talk about how you're a light in dark places, how you're able to use your platform and minister to guys like Kawhi and LeBron James and all these different guys. Because to me, some of the easiest people to minister to are the people that have, quote unquote, arrived. Why? Because they already have what everybody, like you said, what you think is like going to make you happy. And then when you reach the mountaintop, you win a championship, you make this money, you sign a big deal, you realize like, this is all it is. There's got to be more to this. There's still an emptiness in my heart. And so, you know, when you're talking to just an average cat, they're trying to get there. They're like, no, okay, that's cool. I'll listen about God, but man, if I can make these millions, if I could be famous, if I could do that. So how do you use your platform? You know, you're around these big stars all the time to have so much influence. How are you a light in dark places, and how do you use your platform, you know, to be able to minister to different people in your line of work?
Man, you first of all, you're absolutely right. You know, a lot of people, when they're climbing a mountain, they can blame their discontentment on something else. If I had this job, if I had this much money, if I had this car, whatever. But you're right, and you hear it with the athletes. Kyrie Irving, one of the greatest players we've ever seen, says, you know, a lot of players aren't happy. Kevin Durant wins his championship finally and says, man, this was it. This is all, you know. And so, you know, look, in keeping it real, most of the time I'm with players. We talking basketball or something like that. But I just keep the door open. So whenever an opportunity comes to minister or share the word or what makes me who I am, how I'm able to be faithful to my wife, whatever it may be, that's when I'll share the word with them. And I'll tell you what, and it's amazing how God works, because I've always prayed, and you know, people that see me on TV, I don't go on there and preach the gospel. You know, I'm talking about the Celtics and the Lakers and things like that. But I always prayed that people will see the light of Christ in me when I'm on television or hear it when I'm on radio. Right. And, you know, God has opened the door for certain opportunities where I was on a TV show or something, and an opportunity for me to share my faith would come up. Right. And I've shared it. And sometimes there's one time in particular back in 2013, I caught a lot of flack, you know, because I stood up for biblical principles of sexuality and all that. And I got crushed. You know, a lot of people were killing me on The View and on CNN and MSNBC and all these shows. Pat Robertson stood up for me, though, on the 700 Club. But that really created a situation now where when people see me on Fox or when I was on ESPN, wherever, they know. For the most part, they know, oh, that's that Jesus dude. Yep. Now, and I'm not saying nothing about Jesus on the show. Right. But they know that's that dude that's about Christ. Yeah. You know, and love it or hate it, they know. They know. And so that's, you know, that was my prayer. And it's amazing how God would bring that to pass. But now even a lot of players know. Man, in the NBA, everybody knows what I'm about. Right. And so they respect, most respect it. Some might not like it. Some might not agree with it. I might not get invited to the party. I might not get, you know, I ain't the reporter they're going to come up to and talk about the girls that they trying to chase, you know, or getting with or whatever. Yep. But they respect how I'm living, and we vibe on that level. And I'm sure that when they're going through hard times, they come to you for advice. The cool thing that you're saying is, because a lot of people,
there's people that want to just shove the gospel in your face all the time. I think that's what's really cool is that you don't have to talk. I always say, man, I don't have to talk about it all the time. Your life is the best testimony that you have. If you're sitting there, you know, pushing it on everybody, they're going to be like, man, this Chris Broussard dude is kind of weird. I don't want to, I mean, but if you're just hanging out and you're one of the boys, but then they're seeing, man, he reacts to this different. He does this different over here. The way that you live, like you're saying, is different. That's when they begin to see, and you know, they'll even come up to you, I'm sure, and say, hey, man, what's different about you? Why do you do this? You know, and then it opens up a door to be able to spread the gospel, because like you're saying, if you're just on there constantly pushing, you're going to be the guy nobody wants to talk to. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
That's really,
and you know what else, man? And there's that scripture in the Psalms, I believe it's the Psalms. It says, the Lord your God is a sun and a shield. And shield, you know, he protects us. Yep. And look, you know, you're in LA, you're on TV. It's a lot of people that get caught up in some real crazy stuff.
Yep.
And God, serving God, and people knowing you serving God is a shield. Like, a lot of people don't even ask me to get, even though I hang out with dudes. I've been to parties at All-Star weekends and cats' houses, and I hang with dudes.
Yep.
But dudes don't even ask me to get involved in nothing crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's a shield. They already know, oh, he about that born again life. So that's a shield that protects you. Because, you know, I always say this, man, to people, you know, because, you know, one of the blessings of being saved is being free from sin.
Yes.
You know, the free from not only the penalty of sin, but the power of sin.
Right.
And I always tell brothers, I just keep it real. Like, look, we all can think of some sins that we would, you know, you might love to be able to do. You know, you wish you could be out there doing that if you wasn't saved. All that. But then there's those sins where you would hate to be in bondage to.
Yep.
You know, perversions and things you would hate to be in bondage to. And that's how you need to think of it. As God has delivered me from that stuff, you know, where don't think of sin as, man, I just wish I could be out there bugging. It looks so fun. Think of it as the bondage, the stuff that you would hate to do. And you look at some of the people in Hollywood that have gotten exposed for being perverts and all types of stuff. They in bondage, man. A lot of them probably wish they didn't have to do that stuff or weren't doing that, but they're trapped. And the answer obviously is Christ. And I even think we as Christians sometimes, T-Bone, obviously we're not perfect and we still have our challenges. And sometimes, you know, we slip and fall. But sometimes we try to relate so much to the sinners in the world that sometimes we take away from the power of the gospel.
Yeah.
You know, we're so much like, we just like, y'all, we the same. Well, yeah, in some ways, but we also different. Right. We got the Holy Spirit. We got the power of the Almighty God. We've been set free from sin. So we have to remember that. Don't be self-righteous. Don't be arrogant. Don't be all up in people's face and all that. But know what God has delivered you from. Yep. Know the power that God has put inside of you to live the life he's called you to live. Right. And don't be ashamed of that, because that's what these brothers are looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they trapped. Some of them trapped in some crazy mess, man.
Right.
And if they knew or believed that they could get out through Jesus, then I think a lot of them would.
And I say that all the time, and it's like you're saying, it's like, man, like you're saying, don't push it out. But when the time comes for you to speak up, don't be ashamed. Be firm in what you believe in and be, you know, vocal about it. The other thing I want to ask you about, man, this is great, bro. I mean, you some great insight that you're giving us. The crazy thing is the shield that you're saying, like, I totally relate to that, bro, because when I was young, I started when I was 17 years old, got signed to my first record deal, doing all this gospel music all over the world. And I remember when I started hitting like 21, 22, you know, your hormones are going, all that. There's times where I'm like, man, I want to sin, but there's all these people that know me. I can't even sin because, man, it's like covered, you know what I mean? It's like, I want to go over here. I want to do that. But so God uses things to protect you. One of the things I want to ask you about, man, and I want to talk about your King movement as well, because I know you have this great thing that you've done. But I want to ask you some personal for me, man. I'm the biggest, and I'm sometimes I hear it and I'll be like, nah, he's wrong when we're talking about Kobe, because I'm the biggest Kobe Bryant bro. When it comes to Kobe, I mean, he inspired me on so many levels. As you know, I lost 100 pounds. He was somebody that would just, his drive ethic would be like, man, what would Kobe do? And it would inspire me. Tell me what it was like, your relationship, if you knew Kobe, and then when all that happened and he passed, you know, what was it like in the NBA, and were you able to use that as a tool to be able to reach out to people? Because a lot of people were hurting, and I think they were thinking about, you know, what happens after you die. They were starting to, you know, sometimes that's a wake-up call, like, man, you mean my life could be taken away in the blink of an eye? What was that like, and what was your relationship with Kobe?
Yeah, I knew Kobe fairly well. You know, some knew him better, but I had a relationship with him. We would text sometimes and email sometimes back and forth. Kobe, you could see the growth. I mean, Kobe literally grew up in the spotlight. And you can imagine, like you said, the difference between you at 17 or 18 when he entered the NBA to now at 40.
Yeah.
Think about how much you changed, you know, and grew and matured in those years. And Kobe did that in front of everyone.
Right.
And so I know, like, early on in his career, he was more aloof.
Mm-hmm.
And even, you know, and I don't know that it was even purposeful. I think maybe he wasn't as comfortable in his own skin, you know, this teenager, and you're playing on the team with grown men and all that stuff.
Right.
But I would, early in his career, I might go up to him and try to talk to him. And he talked, but, you know, it was a little standoffish, or like, you coming up to talk to me, and, you know, all that. But then as time went on, he got more comfortable. You could just see it in the press, like his comments, the way he handled the press as he got older. And then personally, he was more relatable. And, you know, I would talk to him about, you know, like when he was injured, rehabbing. He asked, what movies? Give me some movies to watch, and send him stuff like that. Last time I saw him actually was maybe 2 years ago. At the mall. He had retired in Newport Beach, California. And I happened to be, my wife and I and some friends were at a jazz concert out there, and we stopped by a mall, and he was with his family and his daughters and his wife. And so we went up, and I saw him. We started rapping. And that's the thing. Like, I remember that because Kobe did become, as far as I could tell, a really good family man and father. And so that's really how I remember him. And also, I was worried about him when he retired, because I'm not worried like something tragic was going to happen, but just worried, like, you know, is he going to find anything to fill that void? Because he was so much into his basketball. And, man, he shocked me and a lot of people by, you know, going full bore into something else, venture capitalism, and then his media stuff. Yeah. And he really moved on from basketball. And I was impressed. I mean, he had the Mamba mentality. Really was, whatever you're in, do it to 110%. That was it. So when he was in basketball, it was basketball. I'm not trying to make movies. I'm not trying to do this or that. I'm in basketball. And once he was done with basketball and was in media, or in venture capitalism, it was all that. So it was like, I'm not trying to coach. I'm not trying to be on TNT. I'm doing this now. Exactly. And that's something that I've said, you know what, I can take from that in my life as well. So around the NBA, it was just tragic. Dudes were obviously crushed. There was not one specific conversation with a player where somebody, you know, where I was able to really use that to share the gospel. But, you know, there were little things here and there that people said, and I was able to say that could share a little bit of that, but never one where I was fully able to just fully share the gospel. And somebody who gave their life to Christ, a player.
That's dope, man. Listen, tell me real quick. We got about 9 minutes, and I got to get to the House Arrest Top 10 with you. Tell me real quick how you got into gospel hip hop, who some of your favorite artists were in 3-4 minutes, and then tell me a little bit about the King movement as well, what you're doing with that.
Man, I was a hip hop head, you know, before I got saved, and obviously just love hip hop. Yeah. And then when I got saved, you know, ultimately the Holy Spirit began convicting me about some of the music I was listening to, you know. And so I'm thinking, this isn't really edifying me and stuff. And so a person at church, a young cat at church, introduced me to some Christian hip hop. He said, you know, they have these tapes at Christian bookstores, which I had never been to. So I go in. The first one I believe that I had was PID,
Get you a
Preachers in Disguise. But it was the one where they had on like Roman collars on the front. I can't even remember the name of it. It was they were okay. The beats weren't hip hop beats. It was almost like church meat beats. But it was legit. They were doing some scratching and mixing and all that. And then, you know, the first one where I was like, oh, this is dope, was with SFC, Listen Up. Yep. And then shortly after I got exposed to that, they came out with their second one. I think it was A Saved Man in the Jungle, which was the bomb. And I remember, T-Bone, I was at the time where it would be one like dope, legitimate Christian hip hop album every like 9 or 10 months. I'm serious. Like, and so it would be like SFC, then I think Dynamic Twins, then Freedom of Soul, and then maybe, I don't know if it was You first or Idol King. But you know, and I would bump one tape for like 9 straight months, you know, over and over in my car. And but it was edifying me because at that time I was a young Christian. It was great to see other young cats who were in the hip hop who were bold about their faith and just outspoken. And that really helped develop, honestly, a lot of the boldness in me in my walk. And so I remember your first album that I had was with Redeem Hoodlum, right? Yeah, it was dope. Like, man, I mean, so really I was in the SFC, Dynamic Twins, Freedom of Soul, Idol King, You, T-Bone, and then Gospel Gangsters came along and all that. And then, of course, Cross Movement. So, yeah, man. But I tell people now, like, be thankful because there's a lot of good Christian hip-hop out there. But the one thing, and you know this, T-Bone, early on in the early 90s, it was no spiritual light Christian hip-hop. Like, it was all gospel. Yep. And, you know, some theology, some might have been off that, but it was gospel. And it was what you would think if somebody said, yo, check out this Christian hip-hop. Yep. You would expect it to be about God and Christ. And that's what it was. And now, and I dig it all, but now there's a lot of spiritual light and, you know, and I, like I said, I like it all. But yeah, back then, man, Muggs it was every track was God.
Yeah. And we're gonna get ministered to on everything, man. Let me see. Do you remember your favorite T-Bone lyric? Do you remember any of my lyrics? I want to see how deep you go.
Yeah, I look. I had every album, Jab in the Jaw.
There you go.
My favorite album from you, and you had all of them were dope, but was the Life After Death.
Okay, that was the Hoodlum's Testimony with Mr. Grimm, Life After Death.
Yes. That one I love. A Thief in the Night, Throwing Out the Wicked. Yeah. I'm throwing out the like. I love that. I know. As your DJ was playing, was it Thief in the Night? He was playing. I knew all the lyrics. You know, not good enough. It's the thought that's going through my mind. Like, man, I mean, you and you had skills. Like, you had different styles. You know, I'm telling you, and I went with you all the way up to, you know, Can I Live was dope when you had the Che Guevara, like, kind of on the album cover. The album you did, well, you were on KRS-One's album.
Right.
That was dope. You know, you spit fire on that. And I loved it because you didn't back up. You know, you came with truth. You called some stuff out. But, man, yeah, I was telling Soup, the chemist, because I told him I was going to be on. Yeah. And I said one of the dopest jams in Christian hip-hop history was Sooner or Later with you and MC Peace and Soup. And you kicked it in Spanish, I believe, a little bit on that, back and forth. But, yeah, man, I'm like a real... I'm a real Christian hip hop head. Like, I ain't no doubt about that, man.
That's dope, bro, man. That's exciting to hear. Real quick, in 2 minutes before we get to the top 10, can you tell me real quick? Tell me about the King movement and what you're doing with that.
Yeah, the King movement stands for knowledge, inspiration, and nurture through God. It's a national Christian men's movement. We're just trying to strengthen men in their daily walks with Christ. You know, Monday through Saturday, through accountability, encouragement, support, brotherhood, teaching. And we got chapters throughout the country. We have about 12 chapters throughout the nation. We got about 4 or 5 more that are about to start. And we are just trying to build up men, you know, give brothers that support, you know, that we need to live out our life. And we try to exemplify biblical manhood in the world. And so anybody wants to learn more, they can go to kingmovement.com or even email me at king@kingmovement.com to learn more about it.
Movement.com. Awesome. Tell me real quick about the video. I seen you got a video that you did with some of the cats that you just put out.
The hip hop video?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our anthem. We actually did that about 2 years ago. We had Eshawn Burgundy, Show Baraka, and Reflect. They all rapped in it. And it's dope, man. You saw it. The video is tight. We actually shoot the video from Ebenezer Baptist Church, which is where Martin Luther King Jr. spent a lot of time in Atlanta. So, yeah, man, it's we want to be a movement, not an organization, but a movement, because it takes a movement to change the culture.
Yes, sir. And
that's what we want to do, man. Reach brothers for the Lord.
So be sure to check it out. Chris Broussard, we got to get to the House Arrest top 10. Number 1, who are you picking? Who do you like more, Kawhi Leonard or Kevin Durant? Who's the better player?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Dang.
We got 2 minutes.
I'm gonna go with KD.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with KD.
Number 2, Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather?
Oh, Ali.
Okay. Number 3, EPMD or Bone Thugs and Harmony?
EPMD. Easy.
Yes, sir. Which place do you like more, Great Western Forum or the Madison Square Garden?
Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
And the Forum, it's funny, man. Quickly, you would go to these legendary arenas, and they were, like, not that great. You know, Forum, the Boston Garden, Chicago Stadium. So Madison Square Garden has been renovated.
Okay, here we go. We got about a minute. Billy Graham or Reinhard Bunke?
Billy Graham.
Billy Graham. Would you rather be a passenger or the driver?
Driver.
All right, we got a minute left. Elijah or John the Baptist? Who would you rather be?
Ooh, John the Baptist.
New Jack City or
he got his head chopped off, maybe.
Yeah. New Jack City or Boys in the Hood?
Boys in the Hood. Both good, but Boys in the Hood.
Andre Crouch or Ron Canoli?
Ooh, Andre Crouch.
Okay, last one. Who's going to win the championship? Who do you take between, if it's one of these two teams, would you take the Lakers or the Clippers? Who has the better shot this year?
Man, I've been picking the Clippers for the last several months, so I'm going to stay with it. But the Lakers look good so far, but I'm going with the Clippers. I think they're deeper.
There you go. Well, hey, Chris, man, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, brother, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for sharing your story. I know that people are super inspired. Tell me real quick where people can get a hold of you if they want to check you out on social media.
Yeah, you can check me out on Twitter at Chris_Broussard, on Instagram, Chris Broussard 68. Chris Broussard 68.
Dope, brother. Well, hey, man, we look forward to having you back. We're going to chop it up. God bless you. And again, tyou for what you do, my man. We appreciate you and we love you, bro.
All right, brother. Love you, man. Thanks for having me. Enjoyed it.
God bless, brother. Me too. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
We out, everybody. God bless. See you next time.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man, DJ P-Dog in the mix, and welcome to the House Arrest After Party. We got something real special for you guys, starting the show off in my lane. My man, Nate the Beat Breaker. Something brand new from him. Welcome to the House Arrest After Party. Let's go.
I get them like this. I know that's what they gon' ask them shows. Got a little gold on my wrist. But when I didn't have it, I ain't feel left out. Now I stand out, I'm the man out, I'm a whole nother breed. For reasons I don't know, they watch me like I'm doing something special when I'm just doing me. Boy, I can whip out the chonkers. Brown and purple with that Wonka, ayy. Might put a pick on my pocket. And rock the horses like I'm Dr. J. God says I'm set out to prosper.
Hey.
So why should I care what my box
Let's
is?
go.
You know better, ayy. You know better.
Hey.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
I can never let nothing stop me. I'm so original, that's why they copy.
Brand new video is out right now.
I'm in my own lane, but I
Make sure you guys check out my man, Nate the Beat Breaker. Follow him right here on IG _ Nate the Beat Breaker. Brand new record, In My Lane. You're hearing it right here on the House Arrest After Party. Let's go. Hey. Scooty Wop. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Bringing y'all that heat.
Every day I was hurt. Couple bottles they put on the shirt. Every day I just seen it get worse. I just pray every day on the church. I know the devil be one of my soul. I can't let him have it, no. I just wanna where to go. Watching my legs on lit. Oh wait, God, so you know that I'm rich. Got me hitting at the angle like Stevie. I'm just trying to go paint them a picture. All my youngers, I hope that they listen. You don't gotta react when they dish. But believe they gon' want to be wishing. Cause they know that we come with wish. All my edges, they know that they ready for war. They tryna get ready. I run back and they look at me different. Guess I'm the one that
let's go.
But I ain't the one who would listen. I am so humble when it come to making it. Cause he the one who get paid today. If you shot out of that, would you be ready or would you be wishing you did it? Listen.
Hit the block and take out like a spaceship.
Hey.
Time is coming, suppose I can taste it.
Hey.
Got too much time, I can't waste it. See a chance, so you know I'ma take it. Time is coming, now I gotta face it. Used to pop me, got for a facelift. Papa Zano, wake up with some cases. To the top in a rush, I ain't racing. Head down bad, no, my head to the ceiling. Put up in a jag, drop top, so you see me. Runs from my legs, church boys, please believe me. Pray to the king, but God don't leave me.
I'm just out here on my job, but you want all this work today.
Shout out to my man Bizzle. Shout out to KB. Smoke free, smoke free. Let's go.
I just leveled up and ain't no smoking on this floor. You're too afraid to grow, that's why we both it on this floor.
Let's go.
Years ago you could've got the smoke free, but now I'm on my new and I am smoke free.
Let's go, let's go.
Wine, so pour another cup. Got me tipsy if you with me, you already know what's up. Know you hate to see me do right, I had to level up. This new level got new devils, you should never be the one. It's got all the money things, got them drawn. Man, I can see it in their face, they want me gone. They feel I'm blocking off they lane.
Welcome to the House Arrest After Party.
I'm just trying to run my race.
I'm your man DJ P-Dog in the mix. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
But you want all this work today.
Hey.
You can tell it when you see us, she feels some type of way. So you see I put the toys away and now you wanna play. Feel like huffing and I puffing, I blow all your smoke away. I just leveled up and ain't no smoking on this floor. You're too afraid to grow, that's why we both it on this floor. Years ago you could've got the smoke free, but now I'm on my new and I am smoke free.
Let's go, let's
I
go.
know they hate the way that we rap. Pave another way with these.
Shout out to my man KB.
Patiently they wait for me to fail. God stay with me, I can't receive an L. No. Basically, I'm made to be the head, but they say that we were made to be the tail. No. To thank the king for saving me from hell, I'ma bang with everything in me that's left. Running in my lane for the whole time. Gunning for the gang till it's on time. Never had to wait for the cosign. Never had to praise in a bow tie.
It's the after party.
Whenever when is it go time? I put the pedal to the metal and hit the goal line. I put the metal to the devil and let it go pow. No lie. It's got over money thing. It got them drawn. Man, I can see it in their face. They want me gone. They feel I'm blocking off they lane. Drive around the corner. I'm just trying to run my race, even if it's slow. I'm just out here on my job, but you want all this work today. You can tell it when you see us. You feel some type of way. So you see I put the toys away and now you.
What's happening with it, y'all? It's your boy Tadashi, man, and I'm hanging with my boy DJ P-Dog in the mix.
Jump on the ceiling, do what you wanna. Go ahead and party, girl, who's gonna stop you?
My man Tadashi. Let's go, let's go.
In the air now, swinging left, right, yeah. This is that moment, know you got it in ya. And I know this must be us.
This for us one time, yeah. Take the playlist and run it back. Run and play, cross the goal line. And I ain't playing by that, nah. It's a vibe cause they wild, got them lit up. This your time, you too fly not to get up. They can try, can't deny, I'm a winner. Mama ain't ready, no quitter. It's free, stop the caseload. I feel like everything better when it's paid for. Yeah, it come with Vogues on the 87. Yeah, on earth as it is in heaven. I throw it up one time for the old days. And throw it up one time for the new wave. And throw it up one time like a bouquet on the floor.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
On the ceiling, do what you wanna. Go ahead and party, girl. Who's gonna stop ya?
Welcome to the House Arrest After Party. I'm your man DJ P-Dog in the mix.
Swinging left, right,
let's go.
This is that moment, know you got it in ya. And I know. Steady climbing, shouldn't do it by myself, ain't strong enough for all these giants. Yeah.
Eric Cole, Eric Cole.
He came through for me repeatedly. When this world mistreated me, I've been through the valley, things been getting cloudy. Need a double yo, like I'm throwing up the Cali. We've been on a rise, so slow than all the highs. But you on my side, man, you know I ain't surprised.
You see the word and I follow. I won't let anything get in the way. Nothing, no, nothing can stop me.
Okay, look, put up, took a seat, I was weak, ayy. Now I'm soaring like a hawk, Dominique, ayy. Look, so run it up, every time I get the chance, I tell them boys it ain't no luck, I'm pointing up, yeah. It was a missing piece when I was hopeless. Everything better when it's your plan. We came out of hiding, better with your guidance, yeah.
You say the word and I follow.
It's the After Party, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to my man Chris Broussard, hanging out with us tonight on the House Arrest Show.
What up, what up, what up? It's your man Lecrae, and right now you checking out my man, my ace, my dude, DJ P-Dog in the mix. Turn up!
That's on me, that's on mama. On my mama, I can't take no more, so miss me with that drama. Get your commas,
let's
get your
go.
Straight, get your facts straight. Hold me down, I rise up on her like the tax rate. Keep my past straight. Never lack faith. God been working, they gon' have to hold me back.
My man Lecrae.
You can pick a side if you wanna. You already know who I roll with. You don't want no problems with me. Get these shackles
on my feet, yeah, they won't let me be.
Why do I always try to dance? Keep telling y'all I'm not a dancer. Let's go, let's go.
Off my feet, yeah, yeah. Can't put me back up in the streets, yeah, yeah. I couldn't move, but now I'm free, yeah, yeah. I got them shackles on my feet, yeah, 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 yeah.
Down for me. People left me, you was brown for me. Brown for me. All that bitterness and anger, had to let it go. People talking down on me, I guess that's how it
Welcome
go.
to the House Arrest After Party. Shout out to my man T-Bone. We did another one, bro.
Got the memo, read the message. Found my purpose, found my method. Only L I took was message. You can pick a side if you wanna. You already know who I roll with. You don't want no problems with me. Get these shackles on my feet.
Always love the Lord cause he the one that love you first.
Hey.
They stab me on my back, I try to pretend like it didn't hurt. Go get what you deserve, my dog, you better know your worth. It's enough hate in the streets, so why we get it in the church?
Great knowledge.
They don't wanna see me grow. They trying to diss me for the fame.
We see you, bro, we see you.
In person, the energy, it changed. They try to act like they don't know. Man, you can't tell me about this pain and all these feelings I can show. No matter how they treat me, I'm still a real one. Sometimes it feel like you lost, but no, you still won. Gotta chase a bag, I gotta take care of these little ones.
Bringing y'all some new heat.
The devil ain't stopping what I'm getting done.
I can never fold, I'm a real one. Keep applying pressure till they feel something. I hold it down for you. I can see the crown on you. I've been on the block, I've been laying on the rock.
Yeah. Flying around the city with a brand new gun. Holy Ghost Field got a brand new drug. Sack on the play, Ray Lewis with a hit. Covered in the blood, turn boy with a stick.
Rockstar JT. Let's go, let's go.
Give me lit. Young boy looking fresh like a lick. Whole team running up with a click. Last leg, better pass me the stick.
bitch like you just bit a mint. On the block, tell 'em put down the brick. They don't know nothing else, hit licks. They say trapping ain't dead, gotta get they family fed. Uncle used to move, way at, now he dead. I call you professional capper, need a Grammy for best internet rapper. Turn the beat up, do my dance as a slapper. Really, yes, I know some boys that'll clap you. Let it bang and come back like boomerang. You a killer on your records in the courtroom, you gon' sing.
Say what? Say what?
Ride around the city with a brand new whip. Holy Ghost Field got a brand new drill. Sack on the play, Ray Lewis with a hit. Covered in the blood, church boy with a stick. Stick,
hey,
stick,
hey,
stick,
hey,
stick, 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 stick. Hey, stick, yeah, stick, yeah. We lit. Hey, city looking like Rafiki. Duke walking around with a stick.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the House Arrest After Party. I'm your man, DJ P-Dog in the mix. We had my man, Chris Broussard on the show. If you guys missed it, hit that rewind button. Check it out. But listen, the next episode of House Arrest, we got a very good friend of mine. We got the phenomenal AJ Styles, WWE superstar, going to be hanging out with us right here on the House Arrest show. Don't miss it. I'm your man, DJ P-Dog in the mix. One love. Peace.
House Arrest with T-Bone.